What's up, good people? It's Pete Thorne. Oh my god, it's been a long time since I've made a video of any sort other than my live streams for YouTube. So it's good to be back. Not gonna lie, the little break was nice, actually. But I'm feeling rejuvenated and ready to make some gear demo videos. So hey, the Tone King Imperial Preamp. Here it is, and this is the subject of today's video demo. So you're probably familiar with the Friedman IRJ, IRD, IRX pedals, and this has a lot of similarities, shares a lot with those pedals, at least in form and function. It's very different sounding because it models a very different type of amplifier. But the form and function is similar to those Friedman pedals, for sure. Because, of course, this comes from boutique amplification, just like the Friedman stuff, so they share some design stuff. But there are some features that are very unique about this, just beside the tones being different and unique. Let's talk about the feature set first. So you get a reverb in this. You also get a tremolo. This pedal also features a kind of simulated phase inverter circuit for like real power amp tube tone dynamic response. Similar to some of the stuff that they've been doing in a couple of the different Synergy modules. One other feature that is really unique to this pedal and that isn't featured on some of the other ones that are similar, like the IRD and IRX and whatnot, at least for now, is that you can actually use this pedal patched in with a guitar amplifier with an effects loop to add channels to that amplifier. So it's got kind of a 4-cable method scheme that allows you to use this as preamp channels, kind of like adding preamp channels to any amplifier. The amp just has to have an effects loop, and it needs to be a series effects loop. So I could see that being really useful with something like a Marshall head, a JCM 800 or something that has an effects loop, because you can add a real true clean channel to that amplifier now, and an alternate kind of lead or distortion tone as well. And the effects, the reverb and tremolo, become active on that amplifier even if you're not using these channels. So a cool and easy way to add, say, a spring reverb to your JCM 800. So more on that in a little bit. I'm going to show you how that works. I'm going to patch this in actually to my PT15. Now on the song at the beginning of the video, you heard the pedal used as I would imagine that most people are going to use it, which is direct. Right into my recording interface. You know, you're hearing my guitar go straight into here, out of the XLR outs, right into my interface and recording in Logic. I haven't talked about the tones at all in the feature set on the two channels, so let's do that. Rhythm channel features bass, treble, and volume controls, as well as an attenuation control, an overall master volume that you could turn down, but it's not really like a master because you're still going to get the kind of distortion characteristics and that phase inverter circuit involved. So really more like an attenuator. Crank it up, find the sweet spot where it sounds good. If it's a little loud, turn down the attenuation. Lead channel features volume control, tone control, mid-bright control. That's kind of a targeted mid-range. You can turn that up and it gets a little more aggressive, a little more bitey in the upper mids. Turn it down, it scoops the mids out a little bit and becomes a little smoother. Describing the tones on the channels, I would say the rhythm channel can get anywhere from kind of 60s combo, you know, American combo, all the way on up to a little bit more like tweed tones. It seems to have more gain to me than any kind of like a deluxe reverb or something. More gets into like tweedy type gain territory with the gain up almost all the way. Lead channel, kind of tweed meets JTM 45 or something. You heard me use that lead channel for all the guitar solos on the song at the top of the video, and I didn't add any kind of boosting or anything like that to it. So that's the gain that's available and on tap. Just like on the Friedman variants, you get a 3-way switch here that lets you select cabinet IRs. So it comes loaded up with a few different IRs. I believe one of them's a open back 112, one of them's a open back 212 with blues, and the other one's a 412 with 25s. Once again, just like the Friedmans, you can hook this up and access a computer editor. I'm going to show you that in a little bit. That opens up a bunch of different possibilities as far as loading different impulse responses and all that good stuff. Pedal's fully MIDI capable, so you can select presets via MIDI if you want to. Doesn't store the pot settings per preset. Those are kind of, you know, fixed wherever you got the knobs, but you can save channel settings as well as effects settings. So if you want the tremolo on your clean sound and the reverb and tremolo on another version of the clean, you can store that as 2 different presets, for example. What else? There's an effect loop here, and there's also a headphone jack, XLR balanced outputs. There's your USB jack to patch into the editor. I think that's it. Let's get on to some sound examples now. It's the Tone King Imperial Preamp. Here we go. Alrighty. Let's check out this first tone I got in the song at the beginning of the video. So for this, I'm on, of course, channel 1. I've got it cranked about 3/4 of the way up. I wanted a kind of a nice bright clear tone. I'm using a split humbucker and middle single on my guitar here. So I've got the treble up quite high, about 3/4 of the way up. Got the bass control down around, 1030 or so. And I'm using the first cab sim, which is kind of the Tone King cabinet, I believe, that's included with the IRs. And I think it's like a 112 open back cabinet. There you have it. That reverb sounds so cool. It's digital reverb, but it's a really, really nice spring. You know, many times I find like digital springs, they don't have a vibe. This is like, does that really sound like a spring, or kind of more like a bit of spring character on a hall reverb or something? But this really has that vibe. Really nice character on the reverb. And the tremolo. The tremolo is, of course, stereo. If you've got the pedal plugged in stereo, you can hear the bouncing around between the speakers, or if you're listening on headphones, you'll know what I'm talking about. Now, I do have a bit of compression active right now, compression pedal. So I'll turn that off and you'll hear that it's doing very little. The compressor is a Keeley, one of the little mini 2-knob ones, and I just found that I liked the way that it kind of evened out my arpeggio stuff when I was playing that first part in the song at the beginning of the video. Okay, so let's turn off the tremolo. That's one short button push on this button here. And let's turn off the reverb. That's a slightly longer button push. It's ingenious, really, the way it works. You get one button there for tremolo and reverb, but you can turn both on and off, and in practice it works really easy. So once again, quick button push will turn on the trem, hold it a little longer, the reverb comes on. Just like that. Very, very, very simple. All right, and here's the tone with no trem or reverb. I like how the IR has that bouncy kind of character to it. Like, it really feels like an open back cabinet. It feels like I've got a cab mic'd up in the other room. And like it's an open back where I can hear the back of the cabinet, the front of the cabinet, and the whole 9 yards doing its thing. Let's listen to some of the other IRs with this tone, though. So there's other ones that you can access more on that in a bit within the software. But right now I don't have the software plugged in. I've just got the simple switch on the front here. And even if you never plugged this into a computer, you can get a nice variety of tones. So let's go to the middle position on the switch here. I believe this is supposed to be an open back with a Celestion Blues or Alnico speakers. And indeed it sounds like that. It gets a little more AC30-ish. Okay, and then over to the all the way to the right position, this is going to be a greenback 412. And it sort of sounds like a deluxe reverb, or, you know, similar sort of mid-60s, you know, Fender amp or something like that, plugged into a 412. Okay, going back to the 112 setting, because I think this one works really well for this channel. You can hear that sound. It's just like, it's the right character, like all the lows and the highs and everything are balanced. Sounds really good with this tone. I'm going to back down the volume control a little bit to clean up this sound, and I'll go back to kind of split humbucker in middle position here. So right there you can hear good pedal platform territory, like if I turn my compressor back on. You know, and I could turn off the compressor. I could hit this sound with maybe, how about a fuzz? Let's see here. That's cool. I've never even tried that, like, into this pedal, but it sounds really good. That's my Starlight fuzz. Here's, great with pedals. I mean, put your overdrives in front of this, your fuzzes, a compressor, whatever, and then you've got your reverb and your trem in there. I mean, pretty cool. You just add a few pedals to this and you got a lot of mileage covered. So I just cut the first little melody lead in that song at the beginning of the video. Started on the neck pickup, then I went down to the bridge pickup. For this, I'm on channel 2 here, and I'm using the Greenback cab IR, so like the 412 IR. And it's got a great, you know, JTM 45 sort of meets tweed. Play something like that. I've got the, let's see, mid bite up at about 2 o'clock, and I've got the tone up at about 3 o'clock. The IRs that are included are on the darker side, I would say. They're done by Ownhammer, and that's something that they tend to do. Not a criticism, it's just something that they do, where they're fuller. You've got, you know, ample low end. Of course, you can go and experiment with some of the other ones that are included, or you can use your own if you want to. I think it sounds really good. I've just got to get the tone controls up around, you know, 2, 3 o'clock to feel like I've got enough cut for my track. Certainly one of the advantages is when you're sitting playing unaccompanied without drums and all that stuff, it sounds nice and warm, and you can sit and practice through it for hours, and it's a great, you know, warm, juicy tone. I'll move the tone controls now away from this setting and play with them a little bit so you can hear what they do. So if I go to more single coil stuff and maybe a little bit lower gain, Alright, so I hooked up the Imperial Preamp via USB to my computer. I've got the editor open now, and what the editor lets you do is control some features that you just can't get to on the pedal. Like, okay, so I've got the Imperial Preamp now hooked up via USB to my computer. And you can do some interesting things doing this with the editor. So I've got the editor up on my desktop here. You're going to see it magically appear there in the right corner of your screen. And let's take a look here. So HF Comp, when I turn this switch on and off, it's kind of like a presence, just gets a little bit brighter. So that's one of the features that you can only access by getting into the editor. I had that in the off position for the whole video because that's how it ships by default. Okay, and then you've also got another switch here that lets you kind of do a low pass, gentle roll off to just warm things up a little bit. Let's listen to that. Okay, so it's real subtle, but it just progressively, with 3 different settings, will kind of warm up the top end more and more. Now, one of the other main things that you can do using the editor You can do things like change channels, turn on and off the reverb, and the tremolo. You know, all that can be done right here in the editor. But the main thing you're really going to do with it is audition different IRs, because you get a few on the switch there, of course, on the physical unit itself, but when you get inside the unit here via the editor, you unlock a whole bunch of other ones that you can try. We're on channel 2 right now, the lead channel, and the third position on the switch for the IRs is a greenback 412. You can see it here. I'm circling it with my mouse. So basket weave M25. If I hit this little plus switch here, this little window comes up here. And now I can actually step through some different IRs. So this says Pinstripe H25. This is a G12H speaker. Let's give that a listen instead. Pretty different sound. That brighter, more kind of gnarly H30 thing. Let's see what's next. We got a deluxe here, 112 Deluxe from 1967, an Oxford speaker. Let's hear that. Not quite like that, actually. That sounds really good. What's next here? A 112 with an Imperial. So this is Fane AXA 12, captured in a Tone King Imperial 112. Let's give that a listen. That's cool too. Different flavor. I like some of these extra ones. So one really cool thing that you can do with the Imperial Preamp that almost nothing else out there does, you can actually run it with an amplifier that has an effects loop. It needs to be a series effects loop, not a parallel one, but if it's got a series loop, you can patch it in kind of 4-cable method with an amplifier that has a loop and essentially add the Imperial's channels to your amplifier. And not only that, you can actually add the effects from the Imperial Preamp to your amp. So the tremolo and reverb. And you can use those effects on your amplifier's channels. So you don't even need to have the channels active in the Imperial. Okay, so let me show you how it works. I got my guitar plugged into the input of the Imperial. I then take a send out of the Imperial, it goes into the front end of the amplifier. I take the effects send out of the amp back into the Imperial, and then I take another cable out of the Imperial's 1/4 inch out back into the return of my amplifier, which in this case is going to be my Shure PT15 for this test. So right now I'm on the clean channel of the PT15, and that's what you're hearing. You're not hearing the Imperial at all right now, even though I'm plugged into it. Okay, so got a nice kind of like sparkly clean thing, real clean dialed up. Right. Turning on the Imperial by hitting the bypass switch. You're now hearing the Imperial's channel 1, or rhythm channel. And I got it dialed up with the volume up quite high, and it's got a darker, kind of more throaty, cranked up thing. So I'm basically getting kind of like a semi-clean and a clean right now. Pretty cool. So now if I go over to, let's see, the other channel on the Imperial, the lead channel. Let's hear how that sounds. Right, that's pretty cool. So I got a kind of a rootsy, tweedy, JTM 45 meets cranked up 50s combo kind of sound going there. Now if I hit the go over to my amps channel 2 here, and if I hit the bypass switch, now you'll hear the PT15's channel 2. Pretty cool. So I've got two real contrasting overdrive tones, a light, more kind of late 60s, early 70s thing going on. And then I can hit my heavier sound. This is the PT15 once again. Okay, now back over to channel 1, or the rhythm channel on the Imperial. Let's add the effects, like the reverb and tremolo. Now, if I bypass the preamp, go back over to my PT15's channel. This is channel 1 on the PT15. And you can hear that the tremolo and the reverb work with my amplifier. So you're not only getting a preamp, you're getting the effects that you can add to your amplifier. It's pretty cool. Hey, thanks so much for watching my video on the Tone King Imperial Preamp. Great device for playing live, running direct for recording, adding channels to another amplifier. One thing I didn't do in this video, you could take an output right out of it and go straight into a power amp of some sort and right into a guitar cabinet. Use this as your preamp. Multitude, all kinds of different ways that you can use the Imperial Preamp. Check it out further with the link down there in the video description below. Click there, it'll take you to more info. Please hit subscribe if you haven't. Subscribe to my channel. Come back and see me often for more videos. Take care out there, internet world. I am Pete Thorne. Over and out.